If you keep wondering why, whilst manifesting, things are not sticking permanently, or you're able to manifest them, but then they end up disappearing and not staying permanently, it's not about the technique you're using. It's actually mainly down to your belief that it's impossible or that you can't do it. People get scared to face that, and I totally get it, but it's about creating that belief in your ability. And that's what we're going to target today to help you guys unblock what is in your way for your manifestation. Welcome back, guys, to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. I'm a manifestation coach all around law of assumption based on Neville Goddard's style of teachings, but I have a lot of my own experience and advice, and today I wanted to delve into your beliefs tying into self-concept and your ability to manifest what you want, or rather your belief in your ability, because you do have the ability. So it's important that you acknowledge that, hype yourself up, remind yourself of that, because it's hard to blame yourself and, you know, just go through the experience being really tough and trying to overanalyze and not feel good. So you want to speed up your manifestation, and there are ways to remove the blocks that are in your way, the doubts that are in your way. So I'm delving into this topic today. Do thumbs up, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. If you start watching this video, I'm about to hop into that advice any second now. Just finishing up my intro. So yeah, do thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoy and want to see more. It would mean a lot to me and to the YouTube algorithm. So everything will be popped on screen as well. If you're struggling with your manifestation, you have questions or doubts or concerns, and you would like one-to-one support, I offer coaching, which can be done by clicking the join button for my membership, which is super cheap. It's only $8.99 a month. You can always cancel after 1 month. There's no pressure. It's up to you. Test it out if you'd like to, or my direct coaching is all through my website linked below. And yeah, now let's get into the video. So there's an easy trap to fall into if you are coming from an opposing story. Majority of the time, especially with larger end result, life goal type of manifestations, we are coming from a negative story or doubts or something just, you know, that would make it a little bit tougher mentally to get to that end result state. And it's easy to get into that trap of this cycle of you're doing your affirmations or whatever your main method would be. It doesn't have to just be affirming, but that's what I like to talk about and what I find the most easy, effective, powerful method. Engaging your mind is the main thing. So you're doing the methods, you're doing the techniques and practices. Like I said in the intro, the technique itself is not the actual issue, but then you're getting into this cycle at the same time of doubt, and they're coinciding? Yeah, at the same time, and coexisting at the same time, where you're putting in the work, but then you're slightly unraveling it and also polluting that work and those positive beliefs and thoughts you've been working on and repeating with a cycle of doubt. By going externally, by continuing bad habits, by doubting, you know, is this possible, and trying to take analytical, logical thoughts and tell yourself, well, this is why it's not true. You know, it's kind of like a form of self-protection or self-sabotage sometimes, where, you know, you get into this perpetual cycle and trap of saying, you know, well, look at the 3D. It's not changed because of this. It's not changed because of that. It's not possible. Look how long it's been. Trying to quantify the manifesting process. All of these kind of ways of thinking tie into you telling your mind, it's difficult. It's taking too long. This is going to be really difficult to do. This is, you know, I'm not manifesting properly. Why isn't it working? Those are the kind of things you're telling your mind, either directly, sometimes it's directly, or just through the way you're thinking. So you really want to target and acknowledge if you do have that core belief or a thought, thought pattern of thinking it's not working, it's not going to happen, why isn't it happening? And then especially if you ask a question, your mind may actually go to the point of trying to give you logical answers and trying to analyze that because it doesn't like the unknown. So you want to get out of this cycle, because you might be thinking, well, I'm doing the affirmations, I believe in manifesting, I know how it works, but it doesn't work for me, or it's taking too long. If you're quantifying things, trying to analyze, go externally a lot and not really delve into shifting your own beliefs through your subconscious mind, which learns through repetition, then you're going to struggle. It's going to be a constant back and forth and battle with your own mind, really. And obviously the repetition, if you are being consistent and really persisting and doing your best to push past those negative thoughts, then eventually your mind does override it. You don't have to remove all negative thoughts. That's not at all what I'm saying. You don't need a perfect mindset, and you certainly don't need to already be at the point of believing it. That will come eventually. And yes, the repetition, the consistency, if you're doing it to a decent extent, and I talk about this a lot in other videos, but if you're putting in all that work, ticking the boxes, eventually, yes, the subconscious will override the negative beliefs. The conscious mind will conform. The thoughts that you think repetitively, it does get stored, and your mind does start to realize, this is the pattern now. This is the way we think. This is what's constantly being said to me as a fact. Therefore, it must be true. And it does start to change. But for how long are you going to persist in that? For how long are you going to accept or handle those negative thoughts and, letting that affect you without acknowledging it, saying, this is the root of the issue, this is where I can improve, and, saying, yes, I actually do have this pattern, or I have put myself down, or I haven't felt confident in my ability to manifest, and, maybe getting into like a pity party for yourself or victim mindset. Acknowledging those kind of things, it's not a failure, it's actually progress, because you're being self-aware, you're seeing this is the issue, and then you're finding the solution, because you guys know what the solution is, and we're delving into that today more. So if you do feed into this negative mindset, or putting yourself down, or being overly critical and overly analytical, if you are prone to anxiety, for example, that's unfortunately a normal way to think. I've even experienced this. It's relatively normal, but again, the self-awareness, the understanding why those thoughts came up and that you can actually break them, makes it 10 times easier. Such a relief to know that. So please do remind yourself that it's not permanent. It's a temporary way of thinking that you can improve. But if you might still be, kind of unknowingly and almost on a subconscious level, letting thoughts come up in your mind from a repeated learned pattern over time, people like me don't manifest that, or people like me don't get that, oh, I'm not that kind of girl, or I'm not pretty enough, or maybe if, I was super confident, or, things have been tough for me in life, finding excuses and reasons and putting yourself down, essentially. Like I said, it kind of ties into a lower level of self-concept, saying, will it ever happen for someone like me? Or how can I even manifest that? Look at this other person, they got it in 3 weeks. Why is it taking me so long? The comparison, the analysis, it's not going to benefit you. It's like you have this kind of like hidden script in your mind that is still feeding off of that negative old story, and you need to put in the work and the effort and to the best of your ability, the self-awareness to say, this is a negative thought, I'm going to turn it around, I'm going to apply my mental diet, I'm going to persist with my affirmations. Whether you want to apply mental diet or just double down and really, go a lot harder with your affirmations, it's up to you. Everyone's lifestyle is different, whatever you connect with the best, I guess. But you need to work on your mindset and realize that you can and should release that way of thinking. You don't need to overanalyze. You don't need to feed into what you think is factual just because it was part of the old story. And as I said, it does come from the subconscious mind, and it takes in everything through repetition, through repeated experiences, visuals, anything that really resonated strongly with you, even emotionally. You're more likely to replay that and hold on to that for a long time. And it needs consistency. And then it's going to get confused through the contradiction and this, the coexisting of the negative thoughts and telling yourself, oh, this has been so difficult. Oh, it's now 30 days. Oh, it's now 31 days. Trying to focus and like hold on to those negatives, or maybe a lack of visible movement, whatever it might be, it's confusing your mind because you're saturating it with your repetition, which is amazing. And it will eventually work and feed into your actual beliefs and then reflect externally, but you're confusing it by doing this constant back and forth. Another little key element is a bit more niche, and maybe not everyone thinks this way, but I've seen this said a lot, or, kind of tying into the idea of purging, like your thoughts and the negative old story, purging, coming to the surface. It's not abnormal, but it's not, you don't need to have that assumption. It's not something you should hold on to or assume will happen to you or to everyone manifesting, or that things have to get hard to get easier. It doesn't have to be that way. So I don't really like to hold on to that too much, especially when coaching my clients. But I do suggest it as potential experience if I think people might be going through it. But it's not something to analyze or hold on to. Having said that, It's also really not a good idea to hold on to what you're seeing in the 3D or, anything negative, and the mental resistance where, you have these kind of intrusive thoughts or just thoughts coming up from the old story or doubt and saying that, well, it's just a test from the universe, or it's just a test, or, just trying to apply a negative label to it or say this is normal and this is how it's going to be. It's just the universe testing me. Not only does it remove your power and, I guess like your agency as the person creating your reality, knowing that you are in control, you have the power and control to shift any negative circumstance. It's almost like lowering your self-worth. It's not a good way to create assumptions about your 3D reality or your entire manifesting process. It's going to hold you back. It's going to make it more uphill because you're applying these negative labels and saying, well, this is normal. This is, a part of manifesting. And it's like you're putting everything externally instead of saying, I'm here at the center. It's my mindset and I decide how things go. I'm just going to be more conscious, more focused, more intentional with my thoughts, do my best day by day, reclaiming that power because you're at the center of your own individual reality. So literally, as the law of assumption dictates, the principles would say, your manifestation becoming permanent is literally a case of you saturating your own mind and building up that assumption until it hardens into a fact, into a belief where, you don't question it, you just assume it's more normal, you feel good about it, you have just normalized it, and it feels like whether it's really realistic or whether it's actually true, you've built up that assumption and belief that you are the version of you who has it. So basically thinking from the end result, thinking as if. You keep working on that, you build it up with consistency. That's what makes your manifestation permanent. It sticks in your reality, it sticks in your experience, like your manifestation will just become a fact in your reality. So it's not a case of wishing or hoping or, questioning things. You literally build up this assumption, and whether or not you fully believe it, you keep telling yourself, this is who I am, this is my reality, this is what I have, this is my relationship, whatever it may be. You keep repeating and focusing on that as if it's already true. That's literally the main principle of law of assumption. So I think I'm going to finalize this video here, but I hope you guys enjoyed that, found it useful. If you did, please do thumbs up, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and I will see you next time. Bye.